The youthful image of Crown Green Bowls in the 1990s. 21-year-old Kevin Shaw on the left and 24-year-old Gary Wallace, both of them in with a chance of a quarter-final place in this year's Bass Masters. Well, these are the two games in our first session today. Shaw plays Merseyside's Ian Wright, a local lad. Wallace has got a real tough one against the 1988 Bassmaster, C MacDonald. Good afternoon to you. The stakes are getting higher all the time. £20,000 on offer this week, £7,500 to the eventual champion. Well, it's nice to see the youngest player in the tournament still around, competing in his first major, Kevin Shaw, and certainly looking the part as we join his match. Big lead. Commentators Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
Kevin Shaw needing 4 for a place in the quarter-final.
And the corners not worrying Kevin Shaw this morning. One or two players have opted to pull out of these corners, but he's going pretty well as far as he can. Now down the ridges, dropping down the shelf.
Wright, with his bias against the slope, merely promotes the yellow ball 2 or 3 inches. Bowling finger peg with the bias working against the slope, and he's got that right. That's 2 more at this moment. Don't think that's going to arrive. Might cut down 1.
Shaw, 1.
18-8. And this is becoming rather painful as far as Liverpool's Ian Wright is concerned. Kevin Shaw, a Bolton supporter. And he's having a pretty fair trot out there, Brian.
And he's wearing the yellow that his side wore as their second change when they won at Huddersfield. They've worn yellow 3 times in over 30 years and won on every occasion. The blue has generally won here, hasn't it, at the Bass this year?
Yes. It's not doing Ian Wright much good at the moment. Even though he is an Everton supporter, I have the feeling that Ian Wright might be thinking at this moment that he will have the opportunity later this afternoon of going to see his team play at Manchester City. I don't think he's going to be taking very much more part in this tournament here. Kevin Shaw counting again, counts 2, all but 8. 20 to Kevin Shaw, 8 to Ian Wright. Kevin Shaw quite happy to charge back even a little deeper into this corner. I think he might just be feeling now I can afford to see how far I can go in this corner with later games in the tournament on his mind. Finger peg to a certain extent, straight pegging in. I think it stayed, yes. Frank Kitchen says that that blue bowl is the winner at this end at the moment. He's done it again. Well, that's about the 3rd time he's done a promotion job in this game, and I think he's meaning it most of the time.
Well, it's knock on wood, and he's had the luck, and he's gone for it. And absolutely against Ian Wright. He's had none of the rubs.
Well, I think the handshake is about to come. Yes,
Shaw.
Kevin Shaw. A dramatic and totally convincing victory over Ian Wright. 21-8. How far is this young man going to go in this tournament, I wonder?
Good question. Not really a contest, that one. A little different for Kevin after yesterday's epic against John Bancroft. Well, also in the bottom half of the draw, Gary Wallace has been looking good. Beat the reigning champion Martin Gilpin yesterday. Up against another former champion today in Chris MacDonald. There's no easy route in the Bass Masters. But Wallace looking good value again as we join Roy Armstrong and Hugh Johns.
So he's going just about 27 yards, finger peg, to the downhill part of the green now. It's all downhill from this position.
Yes, he needed that hit because he would have gone quite a distance past the block then. Real delicacy required for the delivery here. Good one from Chris. I would think the yellow bowl might still be winning it by, what, a couple of centimetres. Mary Ashcroft.
Like the blue bowl.
Oh, she fancied the blue one. She's got a good eye. I wouldn't argue with her. Well, if there was any doubt at all, there isn't now. If he could dislodge the block, he might even get two out of this. No, he knocked himself out. And he's left two for Gary Wallace. Oh dear.
Wallis, 2.
So, Chris MacDonald, 8 chalks adrift, 6:14 down. Gary, with predictable thoughts in his mind, heads straight back to the same mark again. Bang on the button. Well bowled. So's that. Oh, would you believe it? Found the gap. Need to kick that one, Chris.
McDonald, 1.
The main thing is he's got the block back in his hand. And just as predictably, he goes off into the corner. A little bit of rough ground over in that area where the ravages of the very hot sun during the summer have left 1 or 2 bare patches. So the back end of the travel of the bowl can be a little bit unpredictable. I think we can say goodbye to that one.
Go again, lad.
So 2 bowls on the green, both of them belonging to Chris MacDonald. How does Gary Wallace change this? I think he's in the ditch again. Yes. So there's no question of the bowlers having to agree what the score is. There's only 2 bowls on the green.
McDonald, 2.
And with that 2, Chris MacDonald closes the gap to 5 chalks. basically, we've got a game here with only 4 marks in it, Roy.
That's very true, yes. He's coming close on 50 yards here, and Chris is a powerfully built young man and a very nice delivery style, lovely follow-through, ideally suited for corner play, and he's got a very good bowl here. It's only about 2'6" off. Important for Gary to get somewhere near with his first bowl.
Don't think that's got the legs at all. The line was all right, but needed, oh, another 2 yards of travel. Just gets past the short yellow bowl, so it's counting 2, but Gary could change that all now. The weight is just too much, I think. Now it's another single to Chris MacDonald.
McDonald, 1.
Well, now he's ideally placed to exploit the diagonal. Hasn't gone deep into the corner here, though, this time. It's still a pretty long way, though.
Yes, the other thing, Hugh, is that by using these tactics, the theory is that if Chris can keep the jack for 4 or 5 ends, even if Gary gets back in, he'll have broken up his length, and when he gets back with the jack, he's liable to be a bit wayward with his length.
This looks tidy.
Last ball.
6 inches.
A lot of thought going on down there at the moment for Chris.
Yes, he's changed his peg actually here. Huey's come thumb peg just underneath the crown, hoping to just disturb that bowl of Gary's.
So Gary Wallace has stood up to the corner test, if you like, and might just have got 2. He's certainly got the 1. No, it is only 1.
Wallace, 1.
1 it is. So he goes to 15, and Chris MacDonald stays on 10. Now Gary, looking as though he might change his mark here. I wonder. No, he's had second thoughts. Let's go back to what I know. Again, finger peg bowl with the slope assisting the bias just nicely there. Unlucky. That blue bowl close enough to make it extra difficult for Gary to pick up a double here. Doubt whether that yellow bowl is counting for 2, although they're going to have a good look at it, and certainly Chris MacDonald is going to consider the situation, because the awkward thing is the 2 yellow bowls are very much in the road.
Yes, I think what he's weighing up here is deciding whether he should strike at those 2 bowls, whether he can get the split, or whether he should just play about 3 yards through and hope to move the nearest bowl and push himself onto the jack.
changed his peg, and it hasn't helped him at all.
Wallis, 1.
One more for Gary Wallace. 16-10. And the winning post getting closer and closer all the time. The winner of this match going into the quarter-final, well, he's certain to pick up £500, and the loser of this match goes out of the competition with £300 to show for his efforts. Just creeps past the blue ball to be holding 2 at this moment. Chris. Oh, yes. Well, that was a little pinball effort.
McDonald, 1.
Good one to grab. 11-16. Chris MacDonald off the mat. Away he goes into that favourite corner again. And well deep into the corner this time.
Yes, the problem for Chris has been that on the mark that Gary has set, he's had to win 2 ends to actually get going in the corners, and he's hoping to win this end. Down in the corner, I think he's going to go a little way past the jag. He's connected. Got a good ball now, just 2 feet off.
Needs to hit something. Well, if he hadn't hit the block, he'd have gone in the ditch. As it is, he's nearly knocked the block closer to the blue bowl. And in a hidden place. Oof. You are not supposed to get within a metre of the running bowl because of stamping. I'm wondering if Mary Ashcroft might have a very quiet word to Chris about that. He's a large lad, is Chris MacDonald, and if he gets within 2 metres of the running bowl, it could have an effect. A bowl with some weight from Gary. No connection. 1 to Chris MacDonald.
McDonald, 1.
So that takes Chris on to 12, leaves Gary on 16. Quick indication, and here is a turn-up. Everybody in the far corner was getting ready. Even our cameraman was getting down on his haunches up there. He was expecting the delivery into the far corner of the green, as indeed we all did. Chris has fooled us all. Bowling along the edge of the green, right down below us. I think his intention here, surely, Roy, is to try the other diagonal. But he's got to win this end first.
Sure, I feel certain that is what he's trying. In fact, he's playing a Michael Leach style mark here. He's playing round peg, bias towards the ditch, finger peg, about 26 yards. And the thing is here, you must play back of the jack, don't get narrowed.
Well, he's got 2 closest, but they're both of them quite some distance from the target. This looks the winner. It is.
Wallis, 1.
So, Chris MacDonald slightly hoist with his own petard there. And this gives the opportunity for Gary, of course, to bowl across into his favourite portion of the green. Five chalks in it. And Gary aiming well to the left of the jack, now asking the bias to bring the bowl down, as it did, on a length but wide of the target. That also looks narrow and hasn't got legs anyway.
Yes, in fact, Chris MacDonald this season has done a strange thing. He's decided to play with some new bowls. He's fallen out of favour with the bowls that he won the Bass Masters with in 1987. They were £2 14-ounce composition bowls, quite heavy. These are 4 ounces lighter. These are wooden bowls, just £2 10. So he's taken a little time to get used to them.
That looks a little bit better. Needs a contact, gone through the gap. Has he saved?
Wallis, 2.
No, he hadn't, and that's a serious blow to Chris MacDonald's hopes of making progress in the Bass Masters. Gary now off on the Trousdale mark again. The cross-green mark that Colin Trousdale won the competition with a couple of years ago, and which has proved so useful to Gary Wallace in this match. Just pushes the yellow ball that 2 or 3 inches closer. Gary now trying to find a winning, match-winning bowl. He's holding 1, he needs 2. Come on down. No, I don't think so. Just the 1. One more to Gary Wallace.
Wallis, 1.
Come on, Macca.
So Gary Wallace, all but 12. There's now a thumb peg mark. The bowl curving from left to right on its travel. Right to left as we look at it from behind the head. That might just be the match-winning bowl that we've just seen.
Yeah, watch this, Gary.
Here's the weight. Has he made a hit? Nope. And as that bowl speeds away to be stopped and fielded by Gary Wallace, behind the head, Chris MacDonald will come down the green and shake the hand of young Gary Wallace, who very comprehensively has won his place in the quarter-final with a 21-12 victory over former winner Chris MacDonald.
And that concludes the second round. The quarter-final lineup looks like this. The best of the 4 games. Well, it really stands out a mile, doesn't it? Tommy Johnston against Brian Duncan. It'll be live, bowl by bowl, shortly after 2:10 this afternoon. Well, Tommy, live television, a big crowd. You're playing the games #1. No pressure at all, really, is it?
Well, it's just a game, just do your best, like, and win or lose, like. I just hope it's a good game, like.
Brian, you're the only former champion left in the tournament. That really tells its own story, doesn't it?
Well, it's a very difficult competition to win, and obviously all the players are in it, so the majority of the top bowlers are in it, so it's very hard. Every game is difficult.
Do you know what your record is against Brian, Tom?
I've won some and lost some, like, so I think I've just won a couple more, I feel like, but I don't know. It's hard man to beat into, like, you know, so it's should be a good game.
Will it be as tight as everyone thinks?
I hope so. I mean, if you go on and play a game, whether you win or lose, you can only do your best, really. Hopefully I'm going to win, like, but if I play my game and get beat, I've no complaints.
You'll be able to see it live shortly after 2:10 this afternoon. See you then.
If your car gets stopped in its tracks, you'll want an insurance company that really gets moving.
Head-to-head for a place in the semi-finals of the Bassmasters, Tommy Johnston and Brian Duncan. It's the pick of the week's games by a long chalk. Everyone here agrees with that. What they can't agree on is who's going to win.
I've got a problem. I've tipped Tommy Johnston, but I fancy Brian Duncan. Tails, Duncan.
Tommy Johnston is playing as well as anybody in the tournament, just playing as well as I've seen him. But Duncan, he seems in determined mood to me. I think I'll go for Duncan.
On current form, I think Johnston's just playing better, but it's going to be the game of the tournament, this one.
Duncan or Johnson? Duncan the King? Who can oppose him? I can. Johnson.
Well, I'm sure we're going to see a great game, and I'm going for Tommy Johnston by a short head.
Duncan's the favourite, obviously. He's the favourite wherever he goes, but Tommy Johnston's bowling well. I'm going for Johnson.
If I was a gambling man, I think I'd lay the odds on Duncan to win. Sure to be a real good match, but I'll go with the master.
Well, if I was a betting man, and as you know, I'm not, but if I was, I think I'd have £1 each way on Johnson.
Well, I wouldn't say that people are hedging the bets. It's just that there's so little to choose between the two on current form. It's a bit like Roy Armstrong said, just toss a coin and see which way it comes down. Anyway, you get the gist. Let's get to the action. Brian Duncan is the only former champion left in, and no one has ever won this major of major championships twice. The game's #1 for 20 years, a legend in his own lifetime. Tommy Johnston almost won here in 1987. Runner-up that year. He's been different class so far this week, conceding only 15 chalks in 2 games. Most of the money's on Johnston, better odds at evens. But there is the score, having said all that. Tommy Johnston 8, Brian Duncan 1, and for the past 10 minutes or so, Tommy's just been dropping them on a new 5p piece. The commentators, Roy Armstrong and Hugh Johns.
Thank you, Elton. Yes, Tommy has been absolutely electrifying in the first 6 ends of this match. Won the toss, took the block, and raced away to an 8-0 lead. And now Brian Duncan has just scored a single. And he's bang on for another one there. In fact, he's holding 2 at this moment. Tommy's leads have been quite outstanding, but he's got to give second best here. So, Brian Duncan scored on 2 consecutive ends and plants that jack away into his favourite corner, way down to our right. And this game, I think, about now to really start buzzing. Roy, I'm sure Brian will be very angry with himself for having taken so long to get a hold of the block.
Yes, actually in the first 4 ends of the game he didn't do an awful lot wrong, and in point of fact he hit the jack 3 times, but on each time the jack went to one of Tommy Johnston's bowls. But another couple of ends with the jack and I feel sure Brian will get into his stride.
This is clearly the game that everybody in this area here at Ellesmere Port wanted to see. Big audience, bright afternoon, not a lot of sun, not a lot of wind, and an enthralling match in prospect here.
Duncan won!
Another one to Brian Duncan. Now away across to the far left-hand corner. Urging that one on. Oh, what a beautiful work. The front toucher. Tommy wanting to make a contact and spring the jack. Didn't get it. Still there to be done.
Got half an inch off.
Frank Kitchen denies my statement that it was a front toucher, says it's half an inch off. Beautiful second bowl, and there's weight here now, surely. Tommy with extra running in the bowl. If he can make a contact with that front blue bowl, the jack will go. Well, he knocked one out. Cut the count down, another single. So from 8-0 down, Brian Duncan, the master, is back in there. It's only 4-8 against him.
And this game, Hugh, going at a fair old pace. These two are taking no time at all. I just watched Tommy Johnston there, and whereas most people would walk up with the mat and try and slow Brian down, he had a little jog trot. He was keen to get on with the game.
Well, no doubt that Tommy Johnston has been on fire this week. And indeed, for the last couple of years, he's been very much the form horse around the greens. Brian Duncan, the man who has won the Great Waterloo Handicap 4 times, would dearly love to have a crack once again at the Bassmasters trophy. So, of course, with Tommy Johnston, the runner-up to Chris MacDonald in 1987. That season, on his way to the final, he put out Brian Duncan 21-15 in a first-round match. Tommy Johnston, a lad from Warrington, winner, as I was saying, of the Autumn Waterloo in 1985, the Spring Waterloo in 89, the highlights of a brilliant, brilliant career. Duncan's lead to this block, well nigh perfect. We're getting close bowls. Short, so he's not going to score 2.
Tommy's changed his peg here, Hugh. He knows that Brian's only one and he's trying to move the jack, but I think he's narrowed with that bowl.
Duncan 1.
So, the remarkable situation, Johnston scoring on every one of the first 6 ends, and Brian Duncan scoring on every one of the next 6 ends. The overall result, 14 shots on the board, 6 of them to Brian Duncan, 8 of them to Tommy Johnston. Brian Duncan is a brilliant young man whose first major was the 1964 Lancashire Merit, and since then, well, you name it, and he's won it. Everything. That Waterloo 89, the 4th time he's won the major handicap. And of course, winning it for a 5th time is going to be a difficult task for him, Roy, isn't it? Because he's giving away 5 to everybody now.
Yes, he is, and he's got 4 rounds in, and I know that the bookmakers are not being over generous. They're offering 14 to 1 for him to win the event, even giving 5 start.
Brian bowling his favourite diagonal at this Woodlands Hotel green, though I suppose that's the only favourite thing you could say about it from Brian's point of view. He doesn't really like this green all that much. Tommy fancies that a bit. No. Gone out.
Duncan 2.
Left 2. Well, if you've only just joined us, you've missed 13 ends of absorbing bowls. The end result, as you can see on the scoreboard behind them down there, 8 each apiece all round. Interesting the situation, Roy, that Brian is not going deep into the corner in this direction.
No, Brian doesn't want to go deep in the corner because the gradient down there is very, very steep, and he's frightened that once he gets in he'll have difficulty in getting out. So he's sticking to 40 yards, and I have to say that the standard of play that these two are putting up is terrifically high, because that green is not easy.
Now, from our commentary position looking down, and quite often from the camera's eye point, it does look so very flat down there, but I assure you that it is not. There are dips, rises, little valleys, 2 crowns that you have to negotiate out there. It is awfully difficult. Oh, what a bowl! Unlucky Tommy.
Duncan 1.
Another one to Brian Duncan, and as he gets his nose in front at 9-8, he'll be away from us for a short time, but more from this absorbing game live when you come back to us.
If you want an impartial opinion on who's got the best football team, you don't ask a football team manager. If you want impartial advice on how to vote at the next election, you don't ask a politician. And if you want impartial advice on all the pensions around, you don't ask someone who works for a pension company. You go to NatWest. We've no pensions of our own to offer, just impartial advice on everyone else's. We're the only major high street bank who do this. So, for hard facts and no hard sell, have a natter with NatWest.
My heavy heart sinks like a lead rhinoceros when I dream of the land I left behind. Never again shall I see my little pet lamb, nor my Galopka with her pretty beard and her side whiskers. On the other hand, mustn't grumble.
More and more people are turning to products made with NutraSweet, the remarkable sweetening ingredient with the sweet taste you'll love. So, when you're looking for great taste, make sure you look for the NutraSweet Swirl.
They're a grand pair of dogs, them sons of yours. Your mam's got a treat for them later and all. She's bought this new winner lot with the whole grains in it. Looks reet tasty, it does. Well, they've earned it. Don't you worry, lass. You'll always be the best. You'll be getting some as well. Come on.
Has landed.
If the unthinkable ever happened to you, what kind of insurance company would you rather be with?
As you rejoin us, Tommy Johnston has just got his bowl inside the first yellow bowl, the lead bowl of Ryan Duncan, who was 8-0 down after 6 ends. Here we are in the 17th, and he's 11-8 up. A run of 11 shots on the trot. Oh, with total maturity of mind and the ability to get his arm and his brain working sweetly together, reading the green accurately, judging the weight that's required to deliver a bowl of perfection. And Tommy Johnston has got what? A good collision. And that run of Ryan Duncan's ends. And the crowd around this green are really enjoying this as Tommy puffs out his cheeks and says to himself, gosh, I never thought it was going to happen. So an 11-shot canter by Brian Duncan comes to an end. The big thing now is for see if Tommy can get down to work again as he did in the first 6 ends of this absorbing quarter-final match. There's such an eagerness about both these bowlers, Roy. It rubs off all the way around, isn't it? They're both chasing their bowls up. There's an excitement about them.
It's a brilliant match, Hugh, and I think the recommendation here is that any young aspiring bowlers should watch these two, because they're playing the game in a marvellous spirit, and the standard of play is absolutely tremendous. The style and delivery and the way they're running after the bowls. Any young players, perfect example to them.
Steady, Tommy. Aye. And the crowd in the covered stand at that end, we've got a close-up view of that rise to it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Dead end! A bowl under pressure from Brian Duncan. Did the job. You can see the accuracy of this, Roy.
Yes, he had a target, bowl or jack, and in this particular case he came with a little bit of weight onto the jack, into the ditch. He would have preferred to have got the bowl, but be satisfied with that result.
So that end counts for nothing at all. And we have to start off again, and Tommy sets off with a new mark just down below our commentary position here at the Woodlands Hotel. It's a fair lead.
Get off the green.
Just squeezes past to win.
That's winning, Tommy.
With that weight and line, it looks to me as though he's after the bowl. Missed it. So Brian Duncan holding one.
Turn it over about twice.
Frank Kitchen saying that the short blue bowl needs to be turned over at least twice before any damage to the head could be done. Now, can that sneak through the gap? It hasn't got the running. Nope.
Duncan, one.
But the old master, Brian Duncan, looking down into his sack full of memories, drawing on 34 years of bowling experience. Brian Duncan with memories of a previous meeting with Tommy Johnston in the Bassmasters back in '87 when Tommy Johnston took him out 21-15 before Tommy went on to lose the final that year against Chris McDonald. And on this same Woodlands green, Brian would like a little bit of revenge.
Take that one out, Tom. Okay, Tom. Have a look, Tom. 2. Duncan, 2.
2 it is for Brian Duncan. Frank Kitchen confused the crowd for a moment or two because he had blue lollipops in his hand at one stage. And it's now 5 chalks advantage to Brian, as he has the opportunity to plant that jack into the bottom right-hand corner, where the geography and the land is not easy to negotiate, Roy.
No, they've actually stuck to the same length almost throughout this game, except when they were searching for the marks. They're playing 40 yards here, finger peg, just underneath the crown. The land is about a foot below the jack, and Brian's got a very, very good bowl, 18 inches off. The bookmakers, incidentally, Hugh, were a little bit wary about this game. When Brian Duncan's playing, they normally ask for big odds, something like 2-1 or 3-1, but in this case, you could have had, they were asking for 6-4. Even money, Tommy Johnston.
Well, you never see any poor bookmakers, Roy, do you?
Very, very rarely. They usually go to the Bahamas for the holidays.
Is it? About 15 inch off.
Unlucky Tommy, really didn't make any difference. It was always one against him, and it's still one. 15-9, Brian Duncan's lead. And a game that dramatically in its opening stages looked as though it was going to be a runaway from Tommy Johnston's point of view, having already erased Robert Hitchin 21-6, Ken Armitage 21-8, and there he was 8-0 up against the master. Brian Duncan looked like another runaway, but now he's only scored one since then. He's 9-15 down. A very short bowl. It looks very much as though Brian Duncan's exquisite mastery is producing sufficient pressure on Tommy Johnston to worry him, put him off his game a little bit. It's just the extra spur that Brian Duncan needs. He's on song. The hit, now the gap. Brian urging it to go even further. He wants two.
Duncan,
Two it is. 17-9. Can you believe that? Brian Duncan, who's failed to score on only one of the last, what, 14 ends? 15 ends? 8-0 down. Allowed Tommy to score, make it 9-11 at one point. And now 17-9. And the way he's bowling, you've got to say to yourself, two more ends, and he's in the semi-final, Roy.
He's absolutely relentless, isn't he? The way that he waved Tommy's bowls out at the last end. He's, you know, the old saying of when you've got him down, stamp on him. I think he's trying to do that, Brian. And all Tommy can do is keep plugging away like this. He's almost there with this bowl. Excellent reply.
Yes, I'd have said that was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. I don't know whether Frank Kitchen can split them.
blue ball just does it.
He favours the blue ball. Away goes the blue ball. No, it doesn't. The blue ball is now definitely in. So I think the crowd are thanking Brian Duncan for that, to give Tommy Johnston another chance. Well, Tommy didn't take the opportunity of turning one into two, but at least he has ended another gallop by the great man. So he's now 10-17 down and goes off on a mark across the far side of the green. This a straight peg mark, the bias towards the crown. So the bias counteracting the slope of the green, the bowl more or less running dead straight. On a length, Brian Duncan, the winner at this moment. Gone out. So once again, Tommy unable to keep that block in his possession. Looks like two.
Duncan, two.
It is. So Brian Duncan gets the block back, goes back from whence they came into the right-hand corner. Again, a straight peg mark. Although this time, no, it isn't. Duncan bowling with the round peg mark, the bias towards the ditch.
And really, Hugh, it's just the sheer relentless power and precision play of Brian Duncan that's been wearing Tommy down. I think this is the first time in the competition that Tommy has come under such serious pressure, and it's building up for him. He's got to count this end.
Chance for Tommy again now. He's holding one. If he's going to have a recovery, it's got to start now. Chances for two. Must.
Johnston, two.
Two it is. Tommy has got to outscore Brian Duncan 9-1 over the remainder of this game if he's going to win it. That's a fair lead. Bias towards the ditch, and that's where the bias and the slope of the green join together to bring the ball swinging down. After about 4/5 of its travel, about there, the two forces combined. Just one, and Brian is after the blue shot ball. Got the contact, it's gone out, and leaves Brian Duncan with a single. Everything is going right for Brian Duncan, Roy. Picked out that ball perfectly. It was only a short strike, wasn't it?
Yes, it was only 26 yards, but that's the penalty that you pay when you don't get two against this man. And Tommy took a chance. He knew that playing a short length, that was always likely to happen. And once again, Brian playing finger peg about 28 yards, going back to his mark. He's just going to where he had his big break. And the feature of this particular situation is that it's all uphill.
Bias towards the ditch again, so the crown helps, but Tommy, there's no doubt that the pressure of this arena has got to him a bit now. There's a big crowd here. They all wanted to see this match. This was the big one, in many respects as big as the final itself. If it doesn't arrive, he's out. Indeed he is. Oh dear, Tommy Johnston. Taken apart by the great man, by Brian Duncan. And that was as cruel a defeat as you've ever seen. Brian Duncan in total command after losing the first 6 ends, 8-0 down. But from that moment on, Brian Duncan got down to his job, became a real solid professional and ran away with it, 21-12. It was cruel the way that Brian Duncan did it, but it was exquisite, superb bowls and gorgeous to watch. And now he's down on the green with help.
Thanks very much indeed, Hugh. Brian, that was a tremendous performance. I don't think you need to know too much about the game of bowls to realise that.
Well, I was delighted with that really, because obviously I wanted to try and get a good start, and it just went wrong. Tommy got his start, and I thought, well, he's gone 7 or 8-0. I thought, I'm in trouble now. I just kept plugging away and came right in the end.
I mean, how are you feeling when it was 8-0 to Tommy?
Not so clever, really. Well, you're always thinking, am I going to get 2 or 3, or am I going to get none? I thought I'd just keep plugging away, and then I started making a few good leads in this corner, and I got a bit of confidence, and I won from there on.
Come on, be nice and frank. What was actually the game plan at that point? Because, I mean, I think you dropped, well, a handful of chalks after that.
I think it was 8-0 actually, and I knew that the mark Tommy preferred, and I thought, well, I'll keep out of that corner today and try to plug away the other 2 corners, and he set off so well in the corners he prefers that I thought, one of those days it looks like I'm going to get buried, but just keep plugging away.
But his precision bowling in the early stages was absolutely fantastic, and then you almost seem to follow suit. I mean, you're just dropping them on that new 5p piece, as I was saying earlier.
Well, it makes a big difference when you've got the jack in your hand, and Tommy was leading well with the jack, and some of my balls like were going 4 and 5 feet through, but he was forcing me to reach up really, rather than possibly play a dead and be 2 yards short.
You actually hit the jack a few times, and you weren't getting the rub of the green either in the early stages.
Well, I hit the jack 2 or 3 times, like you say, and I went through, and I think once up there when he was only about 3 or 4 nil, he wanted about a football. I think I went straight through the gap. All right, my ball was too far anyway, but any connection, and it would just been ideal.
Roy Armstrong made the comment during the commentary that it was classic professionalism. When a man is down, stamp on him. We mean that in a sort of respectful way.
Well, he's 21 up. I mean, although I've gone, let's say, 7 or 8 in front in the teens, you've got to keep going, because as it's just proved early on. I mean, he started off with an 8 break. He's a very good player, so he's quite capable of breaking out from 8.
Of course he is, but were you aware that obviously his confidence was sapping, that he was getting psychologically quite down?
Well, I thought he was really, because when I went to a few in front, he did start playing a few loose balls really. I thought, well, that's like a good sign that they're under pressure a bit really.
That's right. Now, no one's ever won this tournament twice. You've been trying to do that since 1984. I think you feel inside that this could be that year for you.
Well, you don't know. I mean, tomorrow comes now. It's a different day. I've got to start again. I mean, I think I play David Copeland tomorrow. I mean, that's another hard game. So you just got to take each game as you find it, really, and just hope us we pull through it.
But you're happier with the green. That's an important factor for you, isn't it? You feel happier with...
Well, I do, because there's not as many bumps in the green. The green is probably 100% better than in previous years, and it's a lot smoother bowling on. I mean, previous year we've had it like patchy and thick and thin and a few bumps in, and it has been difficult to bowl.
And as far as your form's concerned, okay.
I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite happy. If I can keep on playing like the way I'm playing, I'll be quite happy.
Even in the tough side of the draw?
Well, in the tough side, right. I mean, you just got to treat every game as it comes. I mean, everybody can play the game. I mean, the top 32 bowlers in the country, so I mean, you just got to keep playing and just hope as you pull through at the end of the day.
Okay, well, it is David Copeland in the next round, Brian. Whoever it is from the bottom half of the draw, we'll have to wait and see until tomorrow. But we can see how Brian's opponent got through to the stage of this competition, to the semi-finals, where he'll play the great man here. Copeland leading against Tommy Hayes, 17-11. Let's see the conclusion of that match.
Dark skies over the woodlands, filled with the sound of a jet aircraft at the moment. As the mighty atom on the green, Tommy Hayes does get a bowl dead right.
Looking for 2. Has he got 2? He's pulled up short. What an opportunity.
Hayes, one.
Just the one. Tommy Hayes. And another missed chance. Just narrows it a shade. 12-17. Off the mat. Tommy Hayes with the jack.
Tommy putting that block then down towards the players' hat, where spectators, that's Chris McDonald out of the tournament, but the man who tipped David Copeland as the eventual winner of the full title. Just at the end there I can see the nose of Tony Poole. Tony, who was beaten by David Copeland in the second round. There's Tony. He'll be happy if David wins this match, in as much as the thought in his mind is that if I can't win it, then the fellow that beat me, I'll be pleased if he does.
You're on.
Now then, a lovely shot which shows the height of the crown, the slope of this green, the bowl out of sight. Now it starts to climb up out of the valley, over the top. Here it comes. Oh, wasn't that beautiful? And that shows the difficulties that the bowlers have to overcome on this crown green game.
Yes. You're left wondering, aren't you? It's a bit of a mystery tour. Where is the bowl? I'll tell you what, it's worth waiting for. It's going to sneak past that one, aim for the jack and settle. Good couple.
Yes, that was as good a delivery and pictorial memory of it as you're likely to see in this entire tournament, I think. $19.12. And at this moment it's definitely 2012. That one is right on the kitty, unless Tommy can disturb it. He's after it, missed it. Now, what does David do?
Didn't get too close, Hugh. In order to present more of a target.
One in front, one behind. That is a superb bowl. Tommy has gone way off the mat to try and get a different angle and look at things. Now he's back on the footer. Now he signals. There's some steam coming. This to stay alive in the tournament. He's got to disturb something. It's gone. No! Took one out, left the block. So he does stay alive, does Tommy?
Copeland,
one.
He was
2012.
2012, but he was very unlucky, I think, with the strike. You'd have reckoned if that makes the right connection, the jack would go as well, but no. But he saves one.
So, David Copeland, who must have thought at that moment of time that he was the winner of this quarter-final match, still got it to do. We were talking earlier about Tommy Hayes' magnificent ability to recover. Well, that was nervousness, I think, on David's part. His heart still pounding from having received a bit of a let-off on that last end when he thought he had the match won. Tommy, who has recovered from some remarkable situations over the years and come out a winner, is now in a position where he's got to win nine shots in a row. Because the jack went off, Tommy Hayes sets the mark, but David Copeland still has the first bowl to it. It's a promotion job. Rotten luck. That's made the match even more in David Copeland's favour. The winner of this match assured of taking £1,000 out of the Bass. It's what the loser in the semi-final gets. And the loser of this quarter-final match will take home £500. And Tommy Hayes, the second time in consecutive ends, has to fire to stay alive. He's 20-12 down. Here's his hit now. And it's a dead end. He's done it again. Even David Copeland applauds the mighty Atom. The little man has saved himself again. Hanging on by his fingertips is Tommy Hayes at the moment. Buzz of excitement and fun around the green.
And if you recall, David Copeland sent the first jack off. And in fact, it's Tommy's jack because Tommy did set the mark, the genuine mark, and David will play to it. So
right.
Again, Tommy Hayes setting this mark.
So Tommy hoiks that one deep across the green. Getting on for 50 yards across there, Brian. This is a long way to travel.
It's a very, very difficult mark too, because if they get too low, they will certainly cut away, and if they get too high, they'll go the other way. This one is kicking up awfully, well away.
Well, I think we can fairly say with some confidence that that will not feature in the count.
There's a train coming in, and it's not stopping.
Two bowls left. And David's still looking for the one that he needs to win the match. Oh.
It's a trap either side of the jack, Hugh, unless they're absolutely on it.
Tommy, surely you got to get one out of this.
He's better.
Straight down the middle. Go on, run a bit more. Run a bit more. Show him how it's done. One for certain. Now, is Tommy going to ask for two?
He may have these measured. The angles are so difficult.
Yep.
You want them to measure? Okay. Measure,
Tommy says measure.
Better have the long tapes with them this time.
Yes. Have they got strings long enough?
Who against the yellow?
It's just one bowl against t'other. Which one are they going to measure first? I wonder.
I think the Copeland bowl first.
Right.
Roy Bates going to it. Joe in on the jack.
There was a time when they used to use straws for measures, but you'd need half a tree to measure this one.
That was when they are within a yard of the jack in the professional game. They ask them, and they invite them to cut straws and try and balance them on the bowl and jack. And the one that survives is the winner. Needs a cool hand.
Hayes, one.
So Tommy is still alive and well and kicking here at the Woodlands Hotel in downtown Ellesmere Port. That's a better lead. Deserved better. Full contact with the jack would have stopped him closer. Side contact means that he's run through by, oh, I suppose, a yard. Now there's the winner coming in now. That's the one that Tommy's got to beat. David Copeland's picked up his second bowl and is very hopeful that he won't have to deliver it. And he won't have to deliver it. David can come up now and shake Tommy Hayes' hand, because a very, very convincing and positive performance by David Copeland over little Tommy Hayes, who's come behind in so many games but couldn't pull it off on this one.
Well, there we go. Roy Armstrong. Is David Copeland the man to stop Brian Duncan then?
Well, I've been very impressed with David Copeland this week, and actually I was on the green last night just for a little trundle, and there was only one man out there trying out one or two little bits of things that, like I used to do, David Copeland. So he's doing all the right things, but the way this man Duncan's played today, I honestly don't see anyone to stop him.
He was ruthless, wasn't he?
Well, to be honest, I felt for Tommy Johnston because I've been in that position myself, having played Brian Duncan. You watch the balls go and you see every ball go smack down the line and you think, when is he going to make a mistake? But Tommy is a very popular player because he's such a good loser. When he loses, he keeps his hurt inside, doesn't show it all, and at his age, I think he'll bounce back, and I wouldn't lay a long odds against him being back here again next year. He'll come again.
Who's going to go through to the semi-finals from the bottom half of the draw, Roy? We'll have to look at this quite briefly.
Well, I think Gary Wallace will be big odds on. Gary's played very well and he's playing a relative unknown in this part of the world, so I think Gary Wallace will go through. Kevin Shaw and Alan Broadhurst is a fascinating match because Alan Broadhurst has packed a lot of years of experience into his play, a very, very clever player, and I think he might just prove too much for Kevin Shaw.
Okay, Alan Broadhurst, of course, beaten finalists last year. Well, we're back tomorrow, finals day here at the Bassmasters 1990. We say it every year it's true. Brian Duncan is the man to beat. Bye-bye.